Hello, friends, and welcome to the show, Your Real Estate Today. I'm Paul Jameson, your host, and so glad that you're with us today and glad that you are out there and enjoying your Saturday afternoon. I am the owner of the Jameson family of companies. That's Realty, Property Management, and Property Investments. And here with Sandy Dickinson with Cross Country Mortgage. Hey, Sandy.
Hi.
Good to be spending Saturday with you. If you'd like to watch us and see all the gestures and a little bit of extra, you can jump onto YouTube. And if you miss something and want to go back, go to the Jameson Realty YouTube channel, and you'll see episodes there. Or if you want to listen to it on your phone in the car, you can go to the WBT website under the shows tab and look for Your Real Estate Today. So let's just go. How about that, Sandy? Let's just, no more fluff. Let's just run. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in the vein of talking about real estate, I had learned some interesting things this week. Do you know that the percentage of FHA loans made to borrowers receive down payment assistance is 38%?
I'm surprised.
I didn't think it would have been that many. You?
Not in this market. I don't know anybody accepting offers on people that are getting down payment assistance.
I mean, what do you got to put down on an FHA loan? What are the requirements?
3.5%.
3.5%. Okay, so on an average of the average home right now in Charlotte's over 300,000, certainly higher these days. But let's just say for $300,000, you're putting down what, 9 plus another 0.5%. So you're putting down about a little over 10 grand, 12, 11 grand, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty good actually to be able to get into a home of that size. But anyway, there are programs available for down payment assistance, but I will tell you as a seller, most sellers are challenged by that. 93% of builders interviewed said they were facing labor shortages. Gee,
I can believe that.
there. Yeah, big surprise there. Hey, if I were on a quiz show for $1 million and got asked the question, do you think new construction people are facing a labor shortage? If I got that one wrong, I'd get the big gong for that one. Yeah. I also, just interesting, we were shopping for a garage door. And do you know how long, Sandy, it takes to get a garage door?
No, how long?
18 weeks.
18 weeks. So not as long as it takes me to get a bed.
Oh, really? Are you having a challenge?
Yes, I am. I ordered one in March. I still don't have it.
Oh my gosh. So are you like sleeping in a tent?
I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor.
College, just like school.
Yeah.
Dang, that's camping. You're clamping.
Glamping.
You're clamping. That's right. The bougie bouge is clamping. Funniest show ever. If you want to go back and have a good laugh, you can go back to the bougie show. When was that, TJ? About 6 months ago?
Summer,
yeah. That one was pretty dang hilarious. I learned something at that show. All right.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we're not going there today. We'll be gracious. New trends for the season. I would say, as we come through the holidays, setting up a theme of being grateful and doing some things that promote that. For example, participating in some community events for feeding others or helping others. One of the things a lot of people are doing is they're setting up a grateful jar and adding things to it every day and just kind of reading them with family or as a couple or as friends. That's kind of a neat thing. someone came up with the idea of a gratitude tree. So every day they would hang a note of gratitude or something they were feeling a lot of gratitude about on the tree. That's a real positive thing. You know, with all the crazy stuff going on right now, we need some positive, right? How about a
Yes, we do.
gratitude tree, Sandy, or a gratitude tree, TJ? I think that's a good thing, right? There's a lot to be thankful for. Also, you know, maybe find a way to cook some new dishes, you know, get kind of crazy in the kitchen this year. You know, as winters come and as the holidays, go out there and find something new. I saw on Facebook before I came on the show, I saw a guy that had done something with a pumpkin pie and whipped cream on it coming out the back end of a truck. That was pretty dang cool.
Back end of the truck.
Yeah, he had like a toy truck, and instead of the exhaust was whipped cream coming out of the back of it, and the truck was stuck in the pumpkin pie. It was pretty dang fun. You know, why not have a little bit more fun around the table? And, you know, I would also say, you know, it's always good as we come into a new year or start a new year. And I'm always reminded life is short and precious. So take advantage of the opportunity of a new year and a fresh start. And I'm always excited about having the opportunity for a new year. So, all right, Sandy, today we're going to talk about changes from the COVID to home designs. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit, if we have time, about HOAs and what they can't do to you.
Okay.
That's going to be fun. Hope we have time for that. And you're going to talk about some mistakes people make when they get a loan, huh?
Yeah. Yes, I am. I've seen a few.
Oh, have you? Not for many of my clients. Never. Never. Well, what's the mortgage update?
Well, inflation is on the rise. Our last data says up 5% and the core rate up 4.1%. So those are levels we haven't seen in about 30 years. Which seem pretty negative, but that also means that income has gone up. So the private sector income is up about 11%, which contributes to inflation. But the good news is about that is that they have more affordability for homes, which is good because the home prices have gone up about 17%. So things are on the rise. Rates are still good, even though they are going up. Let's just face it. But they're not ridiculous. We're still, you know, below 4, and which is good. So I would say go buy some houses for Christmas.
You know, that's the best advice I could say. Buy a home for Christmas. I'm liking that. And if you buy a home for Christmas with us, it's even happier. And we'll
right.
help
I'll make
we'll help you make a grateful tree. Yeah. We'll help you make a grateful tree for sure. Or a pumpkin pie with a truck stuck in it. I mean,
right.
Whatever your desire, we're in for that. All right. Well, coming up after the break, Sandy, we're going to talk some about COVID and its change for home designs. And then we're going to launch into the mistakes that are made in the lending process. But to start the show, we're going to do kind of what we do at the end in the beginning. If you're tuned into this show and you know that obviously at Jameson Realty, Jameson Property Management, and Jameson Property Investments, we're in the real estate business. That's what we do. And you're interested in selling, buying, or investing in real estate, call us at 846-DONE, 846-3663, or jump out on the web at myjamesonhomes.com. And if you want to refinance or you're interested in finding more about mortgages, they can call you, Sandy, at
704-577-0144.
704-577-0144. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about the COVID and much more on the Show Your Real Estate today here on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Welcome back. to show you real estate today. Still taking those guitar lessons, man, and they're paying off. I only know one song though.
You only need one.
Okay, I only need one. Good. You know,
Mhm.
hey, around the campfire still works.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Kumbaya.
that's it. After a few beers, it starts to sound different every time. All right. We're on the Show Your Real Estate today. Paul Jameson, happy Saturday afternoon. I own the Jameson Realty Companies. That's real estate, property management, property investments, here with Sandy Dickinson with Cross Country Mortgage. All right. So as promised after the break, we're going to talk about the COVID and how it has affected home designs. And, you know, in the same vein of being creative in the kitchen, one of the things that home designers are now putting into new home plans is larger kitchen islands. Larger kitchen islands. Why, pray tell, would they do that? Well, they're finding that the demand for cooking, since during the COVID period, people were not going out to eat. They were getting into cooking more in the kitchen. So now they're creating more kitchen islands. People are actually enjoying cooking. Now, I will give you a great example of that. My son, Alex, has become a super duper cook. He was stuck at home during the COVID and was working at home, and the kid can cook. I'm shocked. He gets on, what is it? Pinterest,
Pinterest.
whatever, and gets these recipes off of there. For Father's Day, I asked for chocolate mousse. The kid made it. He makes crazy concoctions of stuff, and it's pretty dang awesome. So if it takes countertops to eat like that, I'm good. Okay. Also, a lot of times you would surrender a bedroom as a playroom when you have children at home. Now, as a result of the COVID, people are actually turning them back into offices, and because they're working at home, or school rooms, or other rooms that are more functional based on being work from home or school from home. All right. So there was a designer that also went into some other interior design trends. I'm not exactly sure how this one related to the pandemic, but it says that they're now seeing more curves in furniture, molding, more arched openings, and barrel vault ceilings because they are bougie or chic. All right. They are using what's called biolithic design. That's a big word. Or elements drawn from nature, like outdoorsy looking houseplants and the use of natural and organic woods. Now that's quite interesting. And, you know, like at my house, you can make anything into a silk plant and make it look biophilic, BIOPHILIC. I'll probably get a call correcting me. Next is bigger and more permanent work from home spaces, AKA just said that. Sometimes libraries, sitting areas, or offices. And last, recycled materials or accents. I found this really interesting. Broken supply chains and lumber shortages are pushing homeowners towards flea market finds and other new stuff alternatives. Now that's pretty dang cool. So we are becoming a recycle, rehash society because everything is stuck out, your bed included, out on a boat somewhere trying to get into the port. So anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe I can go out and get some logs out of the yard and put them under my mattress or something.
Just start cruising the garbage on garbage day. You'll find some stuff, maybe old folding chair or, you know, something like that. You know, you can make some art out of it. That's what I'm thinking. You know, pizza boxes decorated in a nice design.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, she's rolling her eyes right now. Thank goodness this is the radio, TJ, because otherwise there'd be some really bad things that I would be looking at. All right, Sandy, we'll stop some of my stuff right now and we will go into some of your stuff. Let's
All right.
talk about some mistakes, common mortgage mistakes that people make. Like, let's start out with one of the biggies. They don't get a pre-approval before they go out and put a house under contract.
I know. And I have people all the time that are like, no, I don't want to do it yet. I'm not quite ready. And then they just are browsing and they find something they want and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this now. So then we're jumping through hoops and they're grabbing their stuff. It's just, it's way better to go ahead and plan ahead. These pre-approvals are good for 4 months and it's super easy to update them after 4 months. So, and if you're worried about credit pulls, which now I'm finding more and more people are worried about their credit being pulled, we can do a soft pull until you get serious. So we don't have to do a hard credit inquiry just for a pre-qual. Unless your file's tricky and I really have to run it through the whole process to know that, to be sure what you qualify for. So
And I know you don't know the specific number, but this soft pull versus hard pull, does the soft pull affect your score by less points or?
no points, doesn't affect it at all.
Oh, well, why wouldn't we always do a soft pull?
Well, the only reason is I can't run it through an automated underwriting system with a soft pull. And this is something super new. Like we just got this. So I'm really happy that we have it. And I can use it as a benchmark, but I can't run it through an automated underwriting system to get the big approved eligible unless I do a hard pull.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like the difference between a push and a shove, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I get it now. All right. Next, failing to check your credit score in advance. So that's kind of like what you just said, but still,
Yeah, there's
something you should
surprises.
do even prior to looking because of things that I can personally attest to.
I mean, it can change 100 points in a heartbeat. That's for sure.
Yeah. And there can be something on there you had no idea that was on there that can affect
That's
your
right.
credit score, right?
Yeah, and you might need a little time to work that out.
Yeah, usually it's something, like in my case, it was a medical bill. But I mean, and I had no idea until I was ready to, and it affected my score by almost 100 points.
I know, it's crazy.
Mm.
And you know what? If you pay those off, it doesn't help your score. You have to get them deleted.
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to do that because of extenuating circumstances. Folks that listen to the show regularly have heard this, and it's around the holidays, so I'm not going to beat my son, who is my junior, up over this one right now. I'll just kind of leave it go. I want to show some grace in my Thanksgiving tree. So
Yes, lots of grace.
That's it. All right. Opening new credit cards before applying for the loan process.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people recently, not just credit cards, but have gone out and bought new cars. When you buy a car, you're going to get about 5 to 8 hard pulls on your credit, unless you just like go to your bank or credit union, have your financing in advance. If you use these dealerships, it's going to really hurt your credit. And new credit cards, any new credit is going to drop your score for a few months, even if you have really good credit. And then if you do get new credit cards, keep the balances super low, because those high balances will get you every time.
I tell you, that's interesting about the credit cards because, it used to be, and I don't know why it changed. Oh, we got like 15 seconds. Okay, we'll talk about this after the break, but didn't it used to be that if you canceled a credit card, it was good? Now, if you cancel a credit card, it's bad.
Yeah, they like available credit. Lots
Yeah,
of available credit.
We're going to talk about that and so much more here on the Show Your Real Estate Today. I'm Paul Jameson with Sandy Dickinson. We'll be right back here on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Welcome back, friends, to the Show Your Real Estate Today. Happy Saturday to you, and we're glad you're with us. Paul Jameson here with Jameson Realty, Jameson Property Management, Jameson Property Investments. Excited to be spending Saturday here with Sandy Dickinson with Cross Country Mortgage. All right, Sandy, we've been going over some common mortgage mistakes, but before we continue that, a couple of comments I wanted to make. I wanted to talk about right now, we're in the winter months. Let's just face it, we're there. As much as I love being in the Carolinas, I'm also very thankful. Our winter months are nothing compared to other places in the country. But I also want to tell you that a lot of people think that if you are interested in selling, you want to sell, that spring is the only time to do it. And that's just not so. There's a tremendous amount of buyers right now looking for a place to live. And what I love about that is, yes, the truth is your home will be on the market more days than it will be in the spring. But when you get a buyer right now, they're serious. They are not buying or shopping for fun. They're buying because they got to move. And it's really great in that scenario. There's a very limited amount of inventory, and it's a great time to be on the market. So don't put that aside, and don't be afraid of those days. It's not going to sell in 24 hours. I want to be honest with you, but you're going to have serious buyers that are very serious about wanting to move. So just want to add that comment as we talk about.
True. And I have heard that Zillow just pulled a bunch of their houses off the market, so there's even less inventory.
Who did?
Zillow?
Oh, Zillow. Are they new?
Yeah.
Are they new to the
They
market?
couldn't sell their houses at the prices they wanted, so they're going to rent them out.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, isn't that fun? All right. So let's go back to some of these common mortgage mistakes. Making a late mortgage payment along the way can hurt you, can it?
Oh, yeah. A mortgage late with a mortgage credit reports put emphasis on different things. And one of the big ones are your mortgage payments. So if you're late on a mortgage payment, that credit score is going to drop like crazy. And lenders are very specific about how many lates you can have before you can't get a loan at all.
Oh.
And if you have a foreclosure or bankruptcy, there's definitely years of waiting before you can get a mortgage.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get one of those Alt-A mortgages and pay a very, very high rate.
Yeah. What about, if you've, been good for a couple of years and not had any more issues or had a job loss or a short sale, do you have a chance?
Depending on whether you've proven that you've recovered. And that's why they have the waiting period, to make sure that you're back on track.
Gotcha. Good to know. All right. And not saving enough for a down payment.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much they need between down payments, closing costs, prepaids, and what if the appraisal comes in low and you need some extra money? Like, you really have to plan for that.
Right. You can't just all of a sudden get money from mom and dad without talking to your lender to make sure how you do that or what those amounts can be, right?
Yeah, there's a definite process. And it's good to, to start early with your realtor and your lender too, just so you have an idea of how much money you need. That way you can plan. And don't take your money out and stick it in a safe to save it and then put it back in, because we can't use it unless we have it sourced. Like, we have to know where it comes from.
Sourced and seasoned, which was the next topic,
so,
right? And we're not talking about assaulted
for some reason
money.
Now pulling money out of their account.
We're not talking about money with dry rubbed money. We're talking about money that's been, what does seasoned money mean? I'm joking
I'm sorry,
around
what
it.
is what?
Seasoned money.
Season money is, we'd like to see it in an account for at least 60 days. Like we only look for the last 60 days on your money. So as long as your balances are pretty even and you don't have any big, large deposits we can't source, then you're in pretty good shape. If we can source them, it doesn't have to season.
Right.
Like if we know where they came from.
Right. All right. Applying with a limited employment history for a loan.
2 years. You have to have a job for 2 years. We can count school, like if you went to college and you studied to be a certain something and you go into that that type of job, then we can count that, but you need to have a work history, definitely.
Well, what about if you leave a job, say as a truck driver, and then you get a new job with a new trucking company, you're still in the same industry. Does that count against you, even if it's been a short time?
Doesn't count against you unless all of a sudden you become a contract worker for a trucking company, which we see a lot too. So if you're an actual employee, W-2, and we can put together a history of being paid per diem or whatever the truckers are paid, then yes, we can, as long as we can put it together and it makes sense and you have a track history of that type of income, we're totally good with it. It's when you
Good.
switch the way you're paid that's a problem.
Okay. What about changing jobs, you know, in completely different industries, like you go from being a realtor to being a mortgage broker?
Well,
You go from being a
they're somewhat
realtor to
related.
being
If
a
you change,
producer at WBT.
yeah, changing careers is a problem because we want to make sure that you're going to be happy with it and you're going to stick with it. So if you're in the same type of work and you've changed and you're making more money, that's what we're looking at. If you're changing complete careers, then we're going to want you to have some time with that career, because many people change careers and decide they don't like it and then they quit.
That's true. All right. What about locking your mortgage or forgetting to lock your mortgage?
People forget about this. So so mortgage rates are floating unless you lock the rate in, and rate lock periods are anywhere from 15 days to typically 60 days. So depending on when you're closing, you're going to want to lock your rate in, especially with rates going up. So don't forget about that. And when you do lock it in, don't forget that it has an expiration date, or there's going to be extension fees. So we,
Right.
We are always trying to remind our clients about those two things.
Right. So let's say, here's another one, that I put my house on the market for sale, and then I call you up and say, hey, Sandy, I want to refinance to a lower rate.
Okay.
Can I, when my house is for sale, refinance it?
No, you can't. If the house is for sale, you cannot.
Okay.
Because your intent needs to be that you're going to be in the property, and it's not worth it to pay the closing cost if you're going to sell the house. You're not going to recoup those costs.
Yeah, that makes the perfect sense to me. Now, what about not working with a local lender? Why is that a mistake?
Well, I get a lot of people that say, hey, I found this rate online. A really great rate doesn't do you a lot of good if the lender can't close your loan. So a lot of the online lenders don't pay don't pay loan officers a lot, so they're not going to get the big seasoned loan officers. And a lot of these low rates may come with points. So just to throw a rate out at somebody without telling them what costs are involved with it is not really doing them a good service.
Right. And then here's one that came out, bypassing the realtor to get, and then applying for a mortgage. Why would a realtor and a mortgage broker's relationship be critical?
Well, we hate working. It's always very, very tough to work with people that don't have realtors, because those deals fall apart a lot because they're not used to negotiating. They get their emotions involved with it. And then when, you really need that intermediary. Number one, I don't believe people understand how important the realtor function is, and that they really do understand property issues and repair issues and what is legal as far, I mean, they know a lot about mortgages too. So you can't just, do some crazy stuff with the money and it be okay with the mortgage lender. And some of the contracts I've seen do not protect people. So writing your own contract is not a good idea.
Right, right. All right. Well, we've got more to come, Sandy. The Show You Real Estate today. We're enjoying Saturday with you here on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. We'll be right back. Here we are, rounding the corner together on Saturday. We're excited to be spending time with you. I'm Paul Jameson. You're listening to the Show You Real Estate today. I am the owner of the Jameson Realty Property Management and Property Investment Companies here in the Carolinas. Also with me is Sandy Dickinson with Cross Country Mortgage. We're talking about your home and real estate and your mortgage. Sandy, one of the things that came up in our discussion, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about HOAs, about mistakes that people continue to make, is around the documentation. There are a lot of documents required to get a loan, right? And
yes,
and it's a little frustrating, but it's necessary, right? And you got to get them in on time.
Yeah, you do. And you can't block out pieces of the documents. We have a lot of people now trying to black out their account numbers and certain transactions and stuff, and then we have to go back and get them again. We can't take snapshots. We're very picky people.
Yeah, well, it's not you, it's the underwriters, right?
Yeah, it's the investors. Yeah,
they got to check the boxes and make sure. So I get it. Well, I think one of the key things you said before we move forward into talking about HOAs is you got to start the process early, right? Yeah, the earlier you get into this, the more things you can hedge versus, oh, I found the house. Okay, well, maybe I ought to think about a mortgage versus I'm interested in looking. Let's put all our ducks in a row so we're ready and we understand what the process is like. Does that make sense?
Yep. It doesn't cost you anything. And then you know if you need to work on something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So HOAs, homeowner associations. I found over the years, people either love them or they don't love them.
That's what I found.
I did a little research because we hear a lot about what HOAs do and things they say and regulations they beat you over the head over, or the uniformity that they put into some of these documents. So I decided to say what an HOA can't do to you. The first thing is they can't discriminate indiscriminately. What do I mean by that? Well, the obvious is that they can't cover any of the violations that are normal in our society. What I also mean are they can't do one thing for one person and a completely different thing for another. Like, let Sandy put in a fence, but when I apply, because I'm more vocal about the HOA and somebody on the board may not like me, next thing you know, they don't approve my fence because of just the fact that they don't feel like I should have a fence. So, and I take offense to that, but so you can't do one thing. It took you a while, took one out there. I'm sorry, it's that kind of day. One thing for one person and not the other, because I tell you what, HOAs get in a lot of hot water over that because they're run by people and people that have feelings. And It's a thankless job being on the board of an HOA for the most part. So if you take that on, I've done it. I hated it because people thought I was trying to hurt them, and I was just following the rules. Calls at 2 a.m. Anyway, so, all right, next thing they do is they can't string you out. They can't delay a decision for a long period of time and not have a reason for that, especially over things that aren't even in the covenants and restrictions. So stringing you out on the clothesline, they call it, or stringing you out over a decision, pretty soon the HOA will lose their right to decide on that matter. So it's always good in the documents of the HOA to make sure that there are clear parameters around when they're going to make a decision. And if they go beyond that, then the homeowner should be able to do whatever it is they want to do. As long as it doesn't violate any local zoning ordinance or law. You know, the biggest issue I've found in those is trees, right? You've got a tree leaning in your backyard or a nasty gumball tree, and you've had 3 ankle surgeries because you've tripped over them 5 times, and you want to take the gumball tree out. And the people on the board don't want to, are very conscious of trees and want to think through the decision and don't see it as necessary, but they're not living with you and the 3 or 5 ankle surgeries you've had and the annoyance of picking up and stepping on those gumballs all day long. So they delay the decision. You know? Again, they can't string you out. Next, they can't just fine you for the sake of fining you. Can't do that. They can't fine you for fun. I always talk about the gray-haired clipboards in the HOA. And they used to be, now I'm gray-haired, so I have to maybe come up with a new name. But they go out into the neighborhood with their clipboards at 5:01 and start taking pictures of those that haven't been home from work yet and gotten their garbage cans in, or the ones that, you know, maybe have 6 blades of crabgrass in their front yard. And so they start fining you. There has to be a process before you start fining. Threatening letters, you know, and things that violate the CCRs, there should be a protocol and a process. But fining you for the sake of fining you, they cannot do. Next is, again, ambiguous decisions, making a decision on the fly without keeping in mind that the HOA is not an individual. The HOA is a function of the homeowners. The homeowners, period. Those homeowners are to make decisions that aren't already covered in the documents related to their community. That is why you have an association. So it cannot be made up by one person. Next, they can't demand you take down your satellite dish. Ooh, there's a good one. So if they come to you, there are some rules, even if it's in the HOA documents, where they cannot demand you take down the dish. This came about also around solar panels. Solar panels and the solar companies are winning a lot of cases against HOAs related to being able to put solar panels on a home. I'm not an expert in those cases or the law, so if you want to find out more, Google it. All right. Sorry, I used a trademark. Get on the World Wide Web and look it up.
Or web crawler.
Web crawler. That's right, TJ. Web crawler. Native plants. They can't make you nix native plants. I did not know this, Sandy. You got native plants, they can't make you take them out. That's pretty cool. So Snippy HOAs also think they know the law, and they also work to try to keep you out of court. All right, I'm getting the signal, Sandy. We got to go. So if people want to call you about a mortgage, they call
704-577-0144.
We'd love to help you with your real estate needs. Give us a call at 846-DONE, 846-3663. God bless. Stay warm, and we'll talk to you soon on the show Your Real Estate Today on News Talk 1110 99.3.